Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur ki jai. Srila Narottam Srinivas Yamananda Prabhu Trai ki jai. Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami Prabhu ki jai. Shri Rupa Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath Shri Jiva Gopala Bhatta Dasa Raghunath Sara Goswami Prabhu ki jai. Srila Swarup Damodar Roy Ramananda Di Gaur Parshada Vrinda ki jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki jai. Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Shri Shri Navadvipa Dhama ki jai. Shri Vrindavan Dhama ki jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopi Gogo Varidam Dvadashavanatmaka Shri Braj Mandala Dhama ki jai. Shyama Kunda Radha Kunda Yamuna Ganga Tulsi Bhakti Devi ki jai. Akramat Raj Shri Chaitanya Mat ki jai. Arananya Shakamat Samuha ki jai. Shri Vishva Vaishnava Raj Sabha Ananda Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Tribhuvana Pavana Harinam Sankirtana ki jai. Tribhuvana Mangala Harinam Prabhu ki jai. Hare Krishna Maha Mantra ki jai. Shri Sachinandana Gaura Hari ki jai. Shri Nityananda Mahajana ki jai. Shri Pancha Tattva ki jai. Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, ज्ञानतिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। मुखं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुन् दीनतारिणम्। वंशाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो महावदनाय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नाम्ने गौरचिषे नमः। नित्यानन्दं नमस्तुभ्यं प्रेमानन्दप्रदायने कलौ कल्मषनाशाय जानवपतये नमः। अजानुलम्बितभुजौ कनकावदातो संकीर्तनैकपितरो कमलायताक्षो विश्वम्भरो द्विजवरो जुगधर्मपालो वन्दे जगत्प्रियकरो करुणावतारो। पञ्चतत्त्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूपस्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्तशक्तिकम्। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोस्तुते। सप्तकांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वृन्दाय तुलसीदेवाय प्रियाय केशवस्य च कृष्ण भक्ति सत्यवच्चाय नमो नमः। श्री कृष्ण प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवास Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. First of all, I'm offering my unlimited Dandavat pranams and my Shraddha Pushpanjali at the lotus feet of my most beloved worshipable Gurudev. Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Vishnu Pad Paramahansa Asto Tarasata Sri Srila A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada. Then I'm offering my same unlimited Dandavat pranams and my Shraddha Pushpanjali at the lotus feet of my most worshipable beloved Siksha Gurudevs. Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Vishnu Pad Paramahansa Asto Tarasata Sri Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Goswami Maharaj and Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Vishnu Pad Paramahansa Asto Tarasata Sri Srila Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. And then I'm offering my Dandavat pranams to all of my Sri Sri Rupa Nuga Guru Varga, and I'm offering my Dandavat pranams to all the Vaishnavas and all the Vaishnavas. So, yesterday we heard the beautiful nectarine-filled presentation of our beloved Siksha Gurudev Srila Bhakti Vedanta Narayana Goswami Maharaj on his presentation from the Chaitanya Charitamrita of the Hera Panchami festival of Lakshmi Devi, and the conversation which ensued during that festival, sparked by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's questions to Sri Swarup Damodar Goswami regarding Lakshmi Devi, and how Lakshmi Devi actually does not have the adhikar to enter into Vrindavan, and there was a discussion about Vrindavan, very extensive discussion about the moods, especially of the Braja Gopis in particular, and Srimati Radhika. And Gurudev was covering not all of the verses and the praman and what is told in the actual Chaitanya Charitamrita verses, because he was summarizing it for a particular audience of devotees. There's more. If you read it, then you will see that there's much more detailed information about Srimati Radhika's moods and about the exchanges between Radha and Krishna in their transcendental prem keli, their playful moods. It is very, very wonderful to read and to study for all the Gaur Bhaktas. Eventually, we have to come to this in our devotional practices at some point, either in this life or in the next life. These are the topics that we will have to develop a taste and an attraction for hearing them, because this is the means through which we achieve the ultimate goal of life, by which we will attain our eternal Swarup, serving the divine couple, Radha and Krishna. Here we'll have to cultivate our bhajan with those moods, and those moods can only come from one place. You know what that one place is? The heart of the Vaishnavas, not Radhika. We are very far away, but the Vaishnavas, they are here for that purpose, to bring us very close. They are very close. In their hearts, these moods are enthroned. That's the word I was looking for. Enthroned in their hearts at all times. So if someone, any devotee, wants to one day enter into the moods of Rag Marg Bhakti, which means Rag Marg means to follow Rag, the pathway of Rag. And what is Rag? It means the eternal moods of love that the Brijvasis have for Krishna in all of their different rasas, 5 main rasas. They all have Rag, the eternal associates, deep attachment to Krishna. And they all have these sweet moods of Braja, even if they're in Shantaras outwardly. Shantaras, like the trees and the animals in the forest and so on. But they have Rag for Krishna in Braj. So there is no pure Shantaras in Braj, like there is in Vaikuntha. Neither is there even pure Dasiras in Braj, because every ras is imbued with sweetness. This is the Madhurya Dham. And even the trees, they have very overwhelming moods that are similar to the gopis' moods when Krishna touches the gopis and their body, the hairs stand on end. So the trees also feel special relationship with Krishna, and they also haripalate. Like you see the bumps on trees. You know? There's a tree in Vrindavan near to Nandagaon, a place called Ter Kadamba. And this Kadamba tree that was there at the time of the 6 Goswamis, 500 years ago, in that place, this Kadamba tree was still there, the actual tree from 4,500 years before. That place we go to every year. And it was the place where Srila Rupa Goswami used to stay and write his books under this tree, Ter Kadamba. And that tree, it would be hearing the transcendental shlokas that Rupa Goswami was writing. And when he would recite and sing these shlokas, the tree would feel these moods. If the moods were describing separation mood, then the tree would cry tears in the form of leaves falling. And when the moods of meeting together of Radha and Krishna, very joyful moods, and also their playful, sometimes quarreling, the tree would be jubilant, become jubilant, and its kadamba flowers would bloom in response, you see. So that's a very special place. In fact, at the end of Brajamandala Parikrama, which was performed by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur with all the Vaishnavas, we have photos of that. I think it was in 1932, perhaps. But at the end of that parikrama, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur asked Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj, in Braj Mandala, which place did you like the best? And Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj said, Terkadamba. Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami, they would meet together there. Because Sanatana Goswami was staying very nearby to there, in the place called Pavan Sarovara. His Bhajan Kutir is there. And also there was a Lord Shiva, because you know that Sanatana Goswami always had special relationship with Lord Shiva Mahadev. Wherever he stayed, like in Govardhan, he stayed there at Chakaleshwar Mahadev, on the banks of the Manasi Ganga. His Bhajan Kutir is there. So similarly, Sanatana Goswami stayed there for some time period in Pavan Sarovara, which is a small lake, which during the time of Lord Krishna, the gopis would come and bathe there, and also the cows would be bathed there. And Vrishabhanu Maharaj built a small palace on the bank of that small lake for Srimati Radhika. And Krishna used to play games in that pond, and he used to swim across under the water, touch Srimati Radhika's lotus feet, and swim back. You see, so many beautiful pastimes. So this is Braj Mandala. Braj is very sweet, because Krishna is sweet. That's the main feature of Krishna in Braj, as opposed to his other abodes of Dwarka and Mathura, that Braj is overflooded with Madhurya. That's why it's called the Madhurya Dham. And Krishna has 4 Madhuris of amongst his 64 qualities. You can read that in Rupa Goswami's book, which Prabhupada translated in the form of the Nectar of Devotion, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, how Krishna has 64 qualities, right? So the 64 qualities, 4 of those qualities are not possessed by anyone else. Not even any of Krishna's expansions, Lord Narayan or any. Only Krishna has those 4. They're called his madhuris, sweetnesses, sweetness qualities. Prema Madhuri, Rupa Madhuri, Lila Madhuri, and Venu Madhuri. These 4. So only in Braj, only in Vrindavan, all of these pastimes are filled with sweetness. And therefore, Aishwarya, which means opulence, like in Vaikuntha, the majesty and opulence, it is completely drowned in Vrindavan by sweetness, you see. So that's why there are so many songs discussing how Krishna is so sweet. That's why when Krishna saw his own reflection, he became attracted, and he wanted to understand how Srimati Radhika loves him and experiences his sweetness. Krishna can detect that. He can detect that I am the abode of all sweetness. But he himself cannot taste his own sweetness, because a sweet ball cannot taste itself. So Krishna longs to experience his own sweetness. And that's why he becomes Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he takes the mood and the complexion of Srimati Radhika in order to experience her Unnata Ujjvala Prem. Tonight we're going to read the section that we didn't complete yesterday. After the discussion, and then Srivas Thakur began talking about Vrindavan. I mean, about his Lakshmi Devi and Vaikuntha, and then Swarup Damodar began to describe how, look, Vaikuntha, all the Vaikuntha planets, all combined together cannot equal even one drop of the sweetness and the beauty of Braja Vrindavan. So this Siddhanta, Srila Gurudev is going to elaborate on this Siddhanta. So, the last thing that we read was how Srivas Thakur had spoken, and Swarup Damodar was narrating the glories of Vrindavan. And then Srivas Pandit's mood at that time, it changed. And who did he become absorbed in? Whose mood did Srivas Pandit become absorbed in?
Narada.
No, not Narada.
When he became Braj and enthused about Braj?
Well, he was hearing the glories of Braj from Swarup Damodar because Srivas Thakur was saying, my Lakshmi is the most opulent and your gopis, you know, fruits and berries and things like that. But my Lakshmi, she's the grandeur and opulence, and she has a bejeweled throne and all of that, right? So then the whole discussion goes on where that inspires Swarup Damodar to answer Srivas Thakur's claim, right? Then he begins to describe Vrindavan. So then after Srivas Pandit heard, as Mahaprabhu heard and all the Vaishnavas heard, what Swarup Damodar Goswami said about Braja Vrindavan. And then Srivas Thakur's mood changed, because in his mood of Narada, he was glorifying Lakshmi Devi. Madhu Mangal. Because, in case you didn't know, Sri Narada Rishi is actually an expansion of Krishna's most intimate friend, Saka, who is a Priya Narma Saka, Madhu Mangal. And Madhu Mangal always has a kind of joking nature. That's why Narada Muni also has some nature like that. And so when Srivas, when his mood changed, and he became absorbed in the mood of Madhu Mangal, who is Sri Krishna's dear Saka in Braja, then he became absorbed in the mood of Braja, and he began to dance and laugh very loudly, while making a funny sound by doing what?
Put his hand under his arm.
Yes, yes. Squeezing air out of his armpit with his cupped hand. Yes. Devotees always like that playful pastime of Madhu Mangal. So after hearing the glories of the pure praying of Sri Radhaji, and that's what has only been a portion of it narrated by Gurudev. You have to read the actual verses. Maybe another day we'll cover that. But after Mahaprabhu heard these glories of the pure praying of Sri Radhaji, then he became even more immersed in praying. And he began to dance, and Sri Swarup Damodar began to perform kirtan. So there's a narration of that, but that's where Gurudev ends this section, which we ended last night. But there's another section now, which we're going to read this evening, which is a continuation of the topic, but specifically explaining what is the difference between the mood of Aishwarya and the mood of Madhurya. So do you understand the mood of Aishwarya? Yes? What does Aishwarya mean?
God, you are all great. Aishwarya is beneath you.
Yeah, that's called Aishwarya Gyan. knowledge of the supreme opulence of the supreme absolute truth, Bhagavan, in his various incarnations, and in his Narayan feature in Vaikuntha. So that is predominating there in Vaikuntha, is this Aishwarya mood. And everyone there, all of the devotees, the eternal associates of Lord Narayan, who have also 4 arms, in all the Vaikuntha planets, they have 4 arms, like the Lord Narayan and Lakshmi Devi also. So, and that is the realm of Aishwarya. The word Aishwarya also can mean wealth, Aishwarya. It's one of the 6 opulences of Bhagavan, absolute wealth. Aishwaryasya samagrasya, viryasya yashasha shriya, jnana vairagyayos chaiva, sannam bhagam itingina. This is the definition verse of the 6 opulences that entitle someone to be called Bhagavan. Bhaga means opulences. Bhaga. So the name Bhagavan, which, in the Vedic system, is the name that pertains to the supreme absolute truth, the supreme controller, Bhagavan. And that same one supreme controller manifests in unlimited forms, but they're all one. There is only one supreme Bhagavan. There's not 2. So in the absolute realm, in the eternal Paravyom, that means the spiritual sky beyond the material universes, that whole realm is called the Vaikuntha realm. Vaikuntha. You know what Vaikuntha means?
Without anxiety.
Yes. And also, anything else?
The place of no suffering.
The meaning of the word Vaikuntha.
Anxiety, no anxiety.
Yes, but also no limit. No limit. Unlimited realm. Unlimited realm. The Vaikuntha planets there are much bigger than our entire universe. Just one Vaikuntha planet. Bigger than our entire universe. And here, in the material realm of the Maya Shakti potency, here, Bhagavan creates the material universes in the form of Mahavishnu. And all these material universes are very, very large. And there's millions of material universes. That's inconceivable to a human brain. But it is a fact. There is no limit. That is why the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he is called Ananta. Because Ananta means what?
Unlimited.
Yes. Anta means what? Anta.
The end of.
Yes, the end or the limit. Anta.
Yeah.
Just like Vedanta. You know the word Vedanta?
End of knowledge.
Yes. Anta. Veda, Anta. So Vedanta means the end of all Veda, of all knowledge. So the word Anta means the end limit. So Ananta means no limit, without any limit. We have to understand that the transcendental realm is of this nature in every single way. Everything has no limit. But here in the material universe, everything is measurable, has limit, space, time, everything. But there's no limit. Ananta. So the Supreme Absolute Lord, his name is also Ananta. And he also takes the form of Ananta Shesh, who has unlimited power. And that Ananta Shesh is maintaining and holding up all the universes, all the planetary systems. This is the unlimited power of Bhagavan. So, that realm is called Vaikuntha, and it is the realm of Aishwarya, majesty and opulence. Now, let's examine for a moment the conceptions that are there, of God. In Christianity, in the religions and sub-religions that are there here on our planet. What is the ideology, what is the understanding of God in Christianity, for example?
They always mention the Creator God, because in Genesis, that's the nature of God, is the Creator.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Omnipresence also. Omnipotent.
But do they explain how he's omnipresent? Do they explain how he's omnipotent? A little bit. He can create the universe, he can create human beings, he can create like this. What else? What's the conception of God?
Well, of course, in Islam, it's a level up by he's the greatest.
Greatest, yes, greatest. The greatest is also true. This is attribute of the Supreme Absolute Truth, that he is the greatest. No one is equal to him. No one is greater than him. And the name that he has that describes that feature is Asamurdva. Asamurdva means no one equal, no one greater. He is the greatest. But how is he the greatest? It is not very vividly explained in the Bible, in the Quran, or anywhere else. Only in the Vedas. Only in the Vedas there is exact and scientific knowledge of the greatness of the Absolute Truth. How he is great. If someone studies the Srimad Bhagavatam, then they will understand how God is great. But that greatness is absolutely beyond conception. It is called achintya. What does achintya mean? Huh? Chintya means you can think about it. You can think about it. You can try to conceive. But achintya means it's absolutely beyond any conception of the ability to understand. So that is the nature of Bhagavan. Okay? So that Bhagavan, that one absolute truth, who has 6 opulences. What are the 6 opulences? Aishwaryasya, wealth, okay? And that means opulence and grandeur, but Aishwarya means wealth. That means everything that exists, he is the owner. It belongs to everything. Everything is his. Everything belongs to him. So, samagrasya means all, complete. Samagrasya means complete wealth. And the second one, virya. What does virya mean?
Strength.
Yes, it means power, strength, power. His power is unlimited. Huh? It's completely infinite, unlimited. Anything he can do. Nothing is beyond his ability. Huh? So Aishwaryasya, Samagrasya, Viryasya, Yasha. Yasha means
famous.
Fame. He is the most famous personality. Everyone is searching for him. Everyone ultimately will have to come to him because he's the end of anything that can be known. It is him.
He is Vedanta.
Huh?
He is Vedanta.
He is the end of the Vedanta, yes. And Krishna states that in one verse in the Bhagavad Gita. Huh?
Of all Vedas, I am to be known.
Yes. Vedanta. Sarvasya chaham hridi sannivishto. Vedaischa sarvair aham eva vedya. Vedaischa sarvair means all the Vedas. Vedaischa sarvair. Sarvair means all. By all the Vedas, Vedaischa sarvair aham eva vedya. It is I who am to be known in all the Vedas. And Vedanta Krid, Vedavid. I am the compiler of the Vedanta. Vedanta Krid means I have compiled the Vedanta. And Vedavid means I am the knower. Then Yasha, Shriya. Now comes Shriyam. Yes, Shriyam means beauty. Sometimes Shriyam also refers to Lakshmi Devi, who is the source of all wealth and opulence, Lakshmi, right? But actually the word Shri means, in its highest sense, it means beauty. Now this quality of beauty is the most attractive feature of the six opulences, is beauty. Do any of the other religious conceptions have any idea of the beauty of the forms of Bhagavan? Nothing at all. They don't have of the actual beauty, the Shriyam of Bhagavan. Because they have no description of his forms. And that is a very big, what do you say, missing thing.
Missing link.
That they don't have any description of the form of God. But they tell you that God created man in his own image. Even Gurudev would quote that verse from the Bible, that God created man in his own image. So this is the proof in the biblical text that God has a form. He's not formless, because we have a form, and our form is created after his form. So that's why in Christianity, God is depicted as a supreme male personality. But how do they paint him? When artists are trying to depict him in art, and they're painting God, like in the Sistine Chapel, Michelangelo, and other artists of that Renaissance period, when they paint a picture of God, how does God look?
Older than the hills.
Yeah, old. He looks old. Beard, long gray beard, right? Long silver hair, right?
Kind of like Zeus.
Yes, like muscular also, because he's very strong and powerful. Yeah.
In the Genesis, in the actual Hebrew, it's plural. It says, we have created man, male and female, in our image.
Original, you mean? Oh.
It's plural. So.
Oh.
Okay. Well, so we're discussing that one supreme absolute truth named Bhagavan. And he is Bhagavan because he possesses 6 opulences in full. So, Shriyam means beauty. And beauty is all powerful over any of the other opulences. But in Christianity, you don't know. There's nothing. And therefore, there's not so much possibility of attaining rasa. Because without the attractive feature of the Absolute in his transcendental form, which is made of Sat Chit Ananda, there cannot be an actual relationship developed without knowing his form and meditating upon his form. There's a vague conception of God, but not a very clear conception. And therefore, in religions such as that, there is very much emphasis on our life in this material world and acquiring the material things of this world. You see?
Making it beautiful.
You don't see renunciation in modern day Christianity. Very little, very little. But in former times, they had monks, they had very austere, they would go and perform fasting, you know, and like this. And attempt to approach God through prayer, there's some elements of bhakti are there. Some of the elements of bhakti, hearing, chanting, remembering, like this. But Srila Sridhar Maharaj said it's a very basic level and not very much developed. Not very much developed. But some semblance. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur has written an article on this. Because Bhaktivinoda Thakur also studied the biblical texts and so forth. He had some appreciation for the Christianity conception and Jesus Christ and so forth. But he also saw that through the vision of the Vedic knowledge, you see. So, but very, very elementary and just like some foundation is there, but nothing much is built on, not much of a structure is built upon that foundation, see. So this is why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he Kali Yuga, and he preached the message of Srimad Bhagavatam as the ultimate evidence of Godhead. There is nothing that can ever compare with the Srimad Bhagavatam. And in that Srimad Bhagavatam is the 10th canto, which gives all of the pastimes of the Lord in the 10th canto. Right? And in the 10th canto comes the ultimate pastimes of that personality of Godhead in his ultimate feature of Swayam Bhagavan. That means the absolute truth, Krishna himself, who is full of unlimited sweetness. And that is the Ras Leela chapters of the 10th canto. And the expressions of loving exchange between the gopis and Krishna is the ultimate culmination. And that's why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very interested to hear that topic. Because he has come for that. Krishna has taken the form of Gauranga. He has taken the golden color of Radhika. He has accepted her moods, and he is Radha. Internally, he's completely Srimati Radhika, but he's Krishna trying to taste the moods of Radhika. You see? Without knowing that about Gauranga, no one can understand Lord Chaitanya or his movement. We have to know this. And that's why the very beginning of the entire Chaitanya Charitamrita is describing this topic. Why Krishna came as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, why he appeared. When our Gurudev came, Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Maharaj, to the West in 1996, and the subsequent 2-3 years after that, this was his main topic, that he was explaining why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came into this world. And through explaining that, as Krishnadas Kaviraj also explained in the initial chapters of Chaitanya Charitamrita, he explained that topic. And through that, it culminates in Srimati Radhika's praying. Chapter 4 of Adi Leela. So, a lot of the preaching of Srila Gurudev was focusing on the difference between the Aishwarya mood and the Madhurya mood, because it's very essential to understand this difference. And here we're going to read Srila Gurudev's explanation, the difference between the mood of Aishwarya and Madhurya. I forgot to say the other two opulences. Jnana, Vairagya. Unlimited knowledge. Bhagavan has unlimited jnana, knowledge. He knows everything, past, present, future, every living entity, everything he knows. Unlimited knowledge. He says that also in Bhagavad Gita. Vedaham samatitani Vartamanani charjuna bhavishyani chabutani mam chaveda nakashchana. He says, I know everything. I know everything. Vedaham, I know. Samatitani, unlimited. Vartamanani charjuna. O Arjuna. Bhavishyani chabutani. I know all past, present, and future. And I know all bhutas. Bhutas means living entities. I know all. But mam tuveda nakaschana. No one knows me. No one can fully know him. No one can fully know him. And even, Prabhupada would say, even Krishna can't fully know himself. Why? Because Prabhupada said, but as soon as he knows himself, he expands and becomes unlimited even more. So we're dealing with this reality. This is the prime subject for a human being to hear and to meditate and understand is Krishna, the absolute truth. That's why he came into this world 5,000 years ago. That's why he spoke the Bhagavad Gita for us. Because he's introducing himself to us in a very simple way. 700 verses, 18 chapters. Any devotee of Krishna must study the Bhagavad Gita. If someone has not done that, they will never be able to understand completely the proper philosophy and Siddhanta. It must be studied. This is why Srila Prabhupada gave the Bhagavad Gita in the beginning, and he gave the Srimad Bhagavatam. You see. So, and Vairagya, his sixth quality, complete detachment. Completely detached, Bhagavan. So, Bhagavan are the forms of Godhead, and that's why Krishna is called, in the English language, the supreme reality of Godhead. When I first saw that, I never saw the word Godhead before, as I was, growing up in the Christian religion. I never saw the word Godhead until I got it from the devotees. So, in the Christian conception, there is no ideology, there is no understanding of Godhead. Why is it? I ask you. I'm sure Rashad Prabhu can tell. Godhead. And why not just call the Supreme Personality of God? Why is it called Godhead? Do you know? Huh? Do you know? Yes or no?
No.
You don't know?
No.
Do you know why it's called Godhead?
I could guess.
You can speculate, but you don't know. Do you know if it's called Godhead? Well, why have you been using this word for so many years then if you don't know what it means?
Because Prabhupada didn't define it.
Yes, he did. The whole Srimad Bhagavatam is defining what is Godhead. Huh?
He's the top of all.
Krishna's two Bhagavan Swami, head God.
No, but that's not saying.
Aham Sarvasya Prabhupada.
In one sense, that is a fact. Okay.
Head and first person.
Because I just explained the word. Did I not explain the word Bhagavan just now? Does that word Bhagavan apply to the demigods?
No.
Does it apply to any living entities in our universe? Who does it apply to? Only the absolute truth from which everything has come.
The head.
That is Bhagavan. But how many different expansions and forms of Godhead are there? Of that one supreme Bhagavan. How many are there? How many? How many expansions are there? Unlimited. Infinite forms of Godhead. But the difference between those forms and our forms is that those forms are all one supreme entity. And our forms, we are an entity, but there's unlimited numbers of jivas. And also there are unlimited expansions of Bhagavan. So the jivas, the living entities, and Bhagavan, they're both conscious beings. So there's a verse that Prabhupada would quote very often from the Vedas. Which one? Yeah, how does it start? I'm also trying to remember the first words. Okay. Oh yes, Nityo Nityanam. Jai Shri Shri Guru Gauranga Gandharvika Giridhari Shri Shri Radha Govinda Jiva Ki Jai. So here's the verse. And it's a very important verse for you all to learn. It's a Vedic from the Upanishads. Nityo Nityanam Chaitanas Chaitananam. There are two words here, Nitya and Chaitana. Nitya means eternal. Chaitana means consciousness. So this Vedic text is saying, Nityo Nityanam. The grammatical structure is that Nityo means one, singular. Nityanam means plural. Plural number, many, many, many. Nityanam. So here it's saying, there is one supreme eternal, Nitya. And there are many eternals, Nityanam. Nityo, Nityanam. Chaitanas, Chaitananam. Same thing, singular, plural. Chaitana. There is one supreme conscious being, Chaitana. And there are many other conscious beings, Chaitananam. That's us, the living entities. But there's one supreme conscious entity. Now, the next line of this Vedic text says, what is the relationship between the one and the many? What is the relationship between the one and the many? It says, Eko yo bahunam vidadhati kaman. The one is supplying to the many all of their needs and desires. The one is maintaining the many. That's the relationship between Bhagavan and all the living beings, all the Jivatmas. The Jivatmas are eternal, he's eternal. The Jivatmas are conscious, he's conscious. But he is the one that is supplying for all. Only him. So, the Srimad Bhagavatam, it introduces the topic of Bhagavan from the very beginning, and especially in the 3rd chapter of the 1st canto. Because the subject matter is Bhagavan. That's why it's called Bhagavatam. Bhagavatam, it comes from the word Bhagavan, and it comes from the word Bhakta. So, Bhagavan has many, many forms, but he's one absolute supreme entity. And that is inconceivable to our brain. He is one absolute entity, and these are different forms. The example was being given like the moon in the sky. The moon has so many different appearances. Sometimes it's bigger, sometimes it's smaller, sometimes it's full. So the forms of Bhagavan are the same moon. It's not a different moon, but it looks different to us. Similarly, the forms of Bhagavan, all the incarnations, they are completely the same absolute truth. One absolute truth who is only appearing in a partial form to our eyes, to our vision. And why is he taking so many forms? Because he is tasting rasa. That's his whole purpose for his existence, is tasting rasa. Raso vaisaha. He is the embodiment of all rasa. He is made of ecstasy, and his whole existence is for tasting rasa and ecstasy. That's why everything exists as it does. If you ask Christians, why is this creation? Why did God create? First of all, they don't even know about the spiritual realm, which is eternal and is never created or destroyed. But that realm exists, and this realm also exists. Why? Some people ask, well, why did he create a place where everyone has to die and everyone has to suffer from diseases and grow old and all of this? Why?
To fulfill every
No one can explain the answer to this except the Vedic knowledge. And the actual answer is that he is full of rasa and he is lilamoy. He performs unlimited pastimes and leelas for the purpose of tasting rasa. But because he is also supremely merciful, he is parama karunyata. He has supremely merciful quality, and he wants to give all the living entities the opportunity to come and enjoy with him. You see? That is the essence.
And you said Godhead, Maharaj?
Yes, so Godhead. Yeah.
And you might be getting to the full conclusion. But I was just,
No, it's good that you brought me back to that. Yeah.
I was just wondering that, so in the expansions of Krishna, who are considered the same, but just like the example of the ghee lamp being lit by the next ghee lamp, but
Yeah.
there's one original one, so you're saying the Godhead is presented under Sri Krishna, is that what you're getting
No,
at?
Godhead is all of the
It's
forms
all
of
the
Bhagavan.
divine.
The supreme.
That is the totality of the absolute truth, the one supreme nitya, the one supreme conscious being who appears in innumerable forms. That's called Godhead. Sometimes the example is used of like a shower head. Okay, like you attach this shower head, and then so many streams are coming, right? Or fountain head, like a fountain head.
Yep.
So from the one supreme source are coming all these forms, and they're identical, but they're exhibiting not complete rasa. Only one form has the complete rasa, beyond conception. And that is Krishna. That's why he's called the what?
God.
Supreme.
Personality of God.
That's why.
So in that example of the water, so then he is the that fountain
He
head.
is the source.
But at the same time, you're saying the totality of all of them is him because everything is within him and without.
Yes, yes.
I just have to.
Right, so the Godhead are all the various manifestations of Bhagavan. They're all contained within him. They're contained in him, inside of his own transcendental form. All the expansions, they're all contained within Krishna. Everything is within Krishna. How do we know that? Because when he was a little boy, he exhibited the pastime of eating dirt. And then all his other friends said, oh, Krishna ate dirt. And then Mother Yashoda came. Did you eat dirt? No. They're all lying. Then let me see. And she took Krishna on her lap and she looked inside Krishna's mouth. And what did she see? What else?
Herself.
In herself. Inside of Krishna's mouth, she saw herself with Krishna on her lap and her looking into Krishna's mouth. All of Krishna's pastimes in Vrindavan, even his expanding himself as unlimited forms of cowherd boys and cows, they're all these pastimes are exhibiting his unlimited opulence, but with sweetness. Because everything Krishna does is sweet. Even his killing of demons is sweet in Vrindavan. There's that whole Mathura Ashtakam. Yes. Everything about him is sweet because he is the Lord of all sweetness. But actually he's not killing the demons. Who's killing? Vasudeva feature. That is within Krishna. So when the activity of performing, it looks like Krishna is doing, but in actuality it's Krishna's Vasudeva feature that's doing the killing of the demons, because that's his business. Paritranaya sadhanam vinashaya chatusritam. That's the business of that form of Godhead, is to kill the demons and to save the devotees, as Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita. Paritranaya sadhanam vinashaya chatusritam dharma samstapanardaya. I appear yuga after yuga for the purpose of establishing dharma and saving my devotees and killing all the miscreant demons. You see. So that's going on from the beginning of the universe. The demons come and forms of Godhead kill those demons. But they also liberate those demons. So now we understand. What does Godhead mean? Now do we understand?
Yes.
If somebody asks you the question, why is your literature saying Supreme Personality of Godhead? Now you can explain. But it's not such an easy thing to explain to a person who has not yet heard of Bhagavat Tattva, how God expands himself. Because there's no such thing in the Christianity. They have the triune, the triad of God the Father, the Son, the Holy Ghost. Okay, that's a kind of reflection of this conception of Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. Okay, but they have no conception of God expanding himself. No. And when I came to Krishna consciousness and I found out that Krishna, this beautiful, most attractive form of a teenage cowherd boy playing the flute, playing with the gopis, he expands himself into unlimited forms and very powerful forms, and he creates universes. You see? No other religious conception is found even slightly, even one iota to compare with this. That is why Srimad Bhagavatam is the complete absolute truth. You have a question?
Yeah. Couldn't you think that Father, Son, and Holy Ghost corresponds to God, Guru, and Paramatma, Super Soul?
Yeah.
So we can give that way we relate to the Christian. If we say they have no idea,
No,
then
we don't say. Bhaktivinoda Thakur has
he
explained these things. Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj also, he's explained these things about Christianity. Yeah.
So in Goloka Vrindavan there's demons.
No, not in Goloka Vrindavan, there are not demons.
Right.
Yes.
In the pastimes and
Yes.
in the sub-realm.
That's,
and in the material world.
that's called, just for your information, Krishna's pastimes in the material world are called his Bhauma Lila.
Right.
Means his earthly pastimes.
Okay, so then beyond that, like you were talking about the Vaikuntha realms, there's no, because it's unlimited, there's no darkness and demonic energy there, right?
No, there is
Because
not.
that's why it's allowed to be unlimited, so that everybody can...
Well, we can't say that's why.
That's not why, but that's...
We learned that.
There's no chance for abuse of the energy of unlimitedness.
No. But this realm is the realm in which the jivas they can exercise their independence, which is very, very minute independence. But they can exercise it here. Krishna does not limit. So they can turn away from God, and as soon as they do, then Maya immediately covers the jivas with the subtle and the gross body. And they then remain in a state of avidya, means ignorance, not knowing their real self, until they have the good fortune of coming in contact with Krishna, how he introduces the Vedic knowledge. So that Vedic knowledge will be given, all the jivas that come into the human form, they'll be given a chance to come in contact with the Vedic knowledge, which Krishna brings into our universe and distributes it down through Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, and so forth. So that all that knowledge comes down, and the Vedic civilization is a chance for the human beings to follow these actual instructions of the Absolute Lord. And by following them, they gradually become purified, and gradually they become attracted to the Lord. But in the most essential knowledge for attracting the conditioned souls is his pastimes. When the Lord comes to this realm and exhibits his pastimes, then that is the most powerful way by which the conditioned souls can become attracted to him and develop devotion and love for him, by hearing his pastimes. So the Srimad Bhagavatam is simply presenting the pastimes of Krishna and all of Krishna's associates. That is the subject matter of the entire 12 cantos of Srimad Bhagavatam. But then, when the 10th canto comes, you're reading the whole Bhagavatam and you come to the 10th canto, then Krishna's direct personal pastimes of his own appearance as the Swayam Bhagavan, not just Bhagavan, but he is Bhagavan Swayam, which means the source of all forms of the Absolute Lord. When he exhibits his sweet pastimes and the whole story of his 125 years on this planet, from the time that he came in Vrindavan and performed his Braj Lila, and then he went to Mathura and finally to Dwarka. So by hearing those pastimes, the living entities will gain attraction to him, and they will develop love and bhakti for him. So this is the most powerful process of Dharma. That's why it's called Paradharma, supreme Dharma, because the living entity's relationship with Bhagavan is one of eternal servitude. If we want to understand what the jiva's duty is, then we have to understand that the relationship between the tiny little jivas, ourselves, and Krishna is that Jiver Swarup Hoy Krishner Nitya Das. That the Swarup of the jiva is the Nitya Das, the eternal servant of Krishna. So any religious system that promotes, like Prabhupada would say, he would be very liberal. His preaching coming into the West, and he would include other religious processes, and he would say, you can judge a religion by the fruits. And what is the fruits? That you develop love for God, actual love for God. So any religious process which is enabling you to develop love for God, that is first class, Prabhupada would say. So he would not separate the other religious conceptions. He would accommodate those. That they are also preaching, like Bhaktivinoda Thakur would also say, if you go into a Christian church and you see how they're worshipping God or Jesus, then you can appreciate that they are worshipping the same absolute truth that I am worshipping. You can appreciate that that effort is going on. However, still we have to understand there are gradations. There are gradations of knowledge everywhere. So when the full-fledged, this is why the term full-fledged conception of Godhead, that's what the term Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati and Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj would use, full-fledged. It means the complete conception of Godhead. So from that position of Christianity, which is only giving partial, so if someone adapts this knowledge of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's message, which is mainly giving the Srimad Bhagavatam to the living entities, if someone adopts that, then they can progress into the full conception of Godhead, because that's only very, very partial. Very partial. So that's why no one has ever come into this. There is no one like Gauranga. Gauranga vina nahi aar. Gauranga vina nahi aar. There is no one like Gauranga who has ever presented what has been given by him in this material world. So as Gaur Bhaktas, we will only be able to defend this statement, to explain this statement, if we ourselves have properly, thoroughly studied it and comprehended it, and we are relishing and tasting all these tattvas. Then we can explain to others. And this is how we will advance in our bhakti. Without getting a proper conception of tattva, all these different tattvas, Guru tattva, Vaishnava tattva, Gaur tattva, Nityananda tattva, Krishna tattva, Radha tattva, Jiva tattva. There are so many categories of tattva. We must learn tattva gyan. And that tattva gyan will enable us to come gradually into rasa tattva. Rasa tattva. Without understanding sambandha, and without relationship, and without understanding avideya, the process, no one can enter into prayojan. Prayojan means the full development of our transcendental eternal relationship with Bhagavan, with Krishna. That is the prayojan, the ultimate attainment of the living entity. But first you have to learn sambandha gyan, then you have to learn avideya gyan. What are the processes? How do you have to live? What instructions have been given by Mahaprabhu, by all the acharyas, to live our lives and attain this perfection? Because it's not attained without doing that. It's like just standing on the bottom, on the ground, and you have a mango tree here, right here. You're underneath the mango tree. And you see all the mangoes up there. And just by dreaming, I want to have a mango. Are you going to get a mango?
No.
Well, how are you going to get that mango?
You have to reach one.
You have to climb the tree. Okay? If you're just standing on the ground, you're not going anywhere, you're not getting the mango. Bhaktivinoda Thakur has given this example. If you want to attain this Krishna prema, then you have to take the trouble to climb the tree. Yes, gradations. You must do that. So when the Vaishnavas understand what is tattva gyan, then everything becomes clear. And then there's no doubts. There's no doubt. The doubt is coming from ignorance. But when knowledge fills your heart and fills your intelligence, realization comes. Anubhuti. Anubhuti means realization. That's different than just gyan, knowledge. This is realized, vigyan. Vigyan, you see. So that's why we sit together and we discuss these subject matters. Together, and we're hearing what is spoken by the acharyas. This message of Srimad Bhagavatam, our whole life is meant to study this, to go deep. All of the books of our acharyas and all the books of the Goswamis, they're all based on Srimad Bhagavatam. You see? All of Gurudev's lectures are based on the whole Chaitanya Charitamrita is based on the Srimad Bhagavatam. So this is our life. Grantaraj, Srimad Bhagavatam, Ki Jai. That's the meaning. The king of all Shastras, Srimad Bhagavatam, which is actually Krishna's very own Rasa Swarupa. It's not just a book. It's the Rasa Swarupa of Krishna, Srimad Bhagavatam. Gaur Premanandi. So we didn't start reading yet, but you remember what we spoke, and then tomorrow, then this will enable you to really enter this topic. Gaur Premanandi. Shri Guru Gauranga Dhamharika Gurudhari Shri Radha Govinda Jiyo Ki Jai. Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Sudarshan Chakra Jiyo Ki Jai. Shri Gaur Arti Ki Jai. Radha Krishna Jugal Arti Ki Jai. Gaur Premanandi.